Sky.
Yup. Hello everyone, hope you're having a nice day. So as you can see from the title, I wanted to make a small video about the progress making the final countdown Wings of Fire AMV. I'm so happy about your hundreds of amazing comments, and I first wanted to thank you all for that. You also had a bunch of questions, so I decided to compile a list of them to answer during this video. I'll start with more general questions such as the inspiration and explanations about the AMV, and then I'll dwell on more technical stuff, such as the progress of making a shot. Alright, hope you enjoy, and let's get to it. So, back in summer of 2020, I had just finished reading The Brightest Night, the final book of Arc 1, and absolutely loved it. I adore Sunny as the point of view, and her cheerfully determined personality. She's the first character from Wings of Fire I ever made a design for, along with Peril, who I also really enjoyed reading about. I knew then I wanted to at least make a short animation with them, but struggled for a while to find inspiration. That was until I watched the test animation video by Fena. It's titled The Return, and featured his original character Lucy Lacemaker. When the end credits for the video came, it used the Final Countdown cover by Damned Anthem, and I immediately fell in love with it. And after watching such a gloriously animated video, I started imagining Wings of Fire scenes along with the song. At first I wasn't going to make an entire AMV, I only made a couple of shots for fun. That is, the one where Peril looks out onto the horizon from one of the Coliseum columns. I imagine she had just lost sight of Scarlet, and she was about to take off towards the Sandwing stronghold where the Sandwing sisters duel would take place. After making that scene, I began shaping an animation around it, and the idea of everyone waiting for the duel. This is one of the reasons I really didn't make an animatic for it. All of the shots kinda just came to my head, little by little, and I just kept saying to myself I could add more, and began planning to include more iconic scenes for every main character, as if they were flashbacks of what had happened before the sisters' final fight. I noted them down in a very rough checklist, more or less to know what I wanted to do for a moment in the song. So, as expected, quite a bit changed from conception to the final product. For example, at the beat where Peril leaps from the hand clay, I had first planned to have Battle Winner emerge from the lava, and even did some concept art for it. But alas, I figured that would be stupid and I threw it into the trash. Another thing that changed was that the AMV was actually going to end at the Eye of Onyx. However, I thought it'd be cool to add snippets of important characters that I wasn't able to add before. And somehow it ended up being like a third of the entire thing. The other reason I didn't do an animatic for it actually has to do with motivation. A couple times before, I had tried to do big AMVs. However, for those, I sketched out most, if not all, of the animation before properly starting it. I realized that by doing this, I completely lost the will to work on these projects, as somehow my brain considered them finished in a way. Therefore, I figured that if I worked on everything individually, I could sort of surprise myself when seeing everything combined. Of course, that is definitely not the professional way to do it, and I do encourage you to at least storyboard your work. Okay, now, question speed round. How long did it take you to make the animation? So the full AMV took about 1.5 years to make. What software did you use? I used TV Paint for the animation, After Effects for compositing and editing, Clip Studio for the backgrounds, and Premiere Pro for putting everything together. How did you make the noises for Sky? It is cheetah noises, yes! Sky's groan is indeed used by the Roblox Sailwings. That's how I figured out where to get the sound from. The link to the video I used is in the description. Can we use your character designs? Yes, of course you can, as long as you give credit. I should have put a link to a folder with the designs in the description. Put them in your maps, your AMVs, your Stroop waffles, make a 3 hours long video with a rotating Morrosier to the music of Can You Feel the Sunshine? I don't care. Again, always with credit please. What was the hardest scene to animate? Definitely, it was this scene with Bern getting bitten by the snake. I don't know how, I don't know why. Yesterday you told me about the blue, blue sky. It took ages to get the perspective right, and honestly, I'm still not satisfied. It was one of the first shots I did, and the last one I finished. Do you plan on doing something similar for the next arcs? As of now, I don't really plan to, since I'm working on an AMV about a specific Wings of Fire character, and they're not from Arc 1. But anyways, if you're looking for a cinematic style trailer for Act 2 right now, I would really recommend you check out Dr. Bubble's work in progress AMV, Legends Never Die. It is so good. I already saw some of the finished shots and I can say they look absolutely beautiful, and it's going to be epic. Go subscribe to her right now. Okay, now on to more technical stuff. Some of you asked about the animation progress, so here it goes. Normally for each shot, I usually make 2 to 3 sketches before the line art. In the first, I draw extremely roughly what I want in that scene, and by roughly I mean 2 circles and a couple of noodles. At this point, I don't really care much about accurate movement, I just put the circles and pasta where I want the characters to be, like some child's macaroni art. Next, I make refined noodles. I use the previous layout to properly time every movement. For a lot of this AMV, since there's a lot of action, I animated most shots on the go. That means I did not draw keyframes during this part and instead relied on the noodles to know where to draw next. The final sketch is the actual drawings. The most important thing was to keep the sizes of the body and the head consistent. This is why I usually animate the head separate from the body at this point. Later, I move the head sketches to their proper place with the movement of the character. Once that is done, it's time for the line art. I usually do not line in the order of the frames, that is from beginning to end, but instead I line the first frame, then jump to a frame in the middle and line that. Then I go back and line the frame in between those two, and so on. This is to try and keep the lines mostly consistent. It's kind of like making keyframes but with everything already sketched. After coloring and adding some basic shadow to places like eyes and ears, I composite everything in After Effects. There I add lighting, using layer styles, and also add the backgrounds, filters and the effects. Some effects I animate them separately in TV Paint, like the smoke coming out of a dragon's nostrils, or the fire breathing. For other effects though, I use the After Effects particle system to create stuff like snow or rain. But for others, I use stock overlays. For example, I used overlays of smoke to make the effect of snow being whipped up by the wind. For this scene of Blazes Fort, I actually used a combination of After Effects particles and overlays. Alright, I think that about covers it. Thanks so much again for all your support. Have a great week and enjoy your stroopwafels.